So the Modern Warfare 2 beta released the other day. It released for Friday with people who pre-ordered the game and on Sunday for everyone on PlayStation. Those dates are both for just PlayStation players and it's going to release I think this weekend for PC and Xbox. Same with the pre-order thing for PC and Xbox and then for everyone on each platform. But anyways, I decided to play the beta to see what I think of it and just my thoughts and opinions on the overall game. And in this video, I'm just going to be going over it and what I think the issues are and what I think needs to be fixed and what's fine. So the movement in Modern Warfare 2 is very similar to Warzone and Modern Warfare 2019. A lot of the factors remain unchanged, like the base factors like the jumping length, the tactical sprint is the same, and the sliding feels about the same, although it does feel a little bit slower, but that could just be me. But anyways, to talk about the movement, one of the most controversial things they changed about this game was slide canceling. Slide canceling now is, I wouldn't say completely gone, but the developers are trying to remove it from what it looks like and they're trying to limit it or just full out get rid of it. But slide canceling was a huge element of those past games, and personally, I don't really care that they removed it because slide canceling was it was never really a core feature of the game. It was just like something gimmicky, I guess you could say, but I don't really care that much because I don't feel like it's a core element of COD. So I don't really mind. A lot of people don't like that, but whatever is what I think. So anyways, slide canceling is gone. Like I said, I might have said, the sliding feels a little bit slower than previous games, and I could just be wrong about that, but I feel like for the past couple of years, Activision has been trying to nerf sliding in a way. But in this game, it feels really short, really slow, so there's almost never a good situation with sliding. And dolphin diving too is a new feature, and well, it's not really new, but it's a new feature, I guess, and it's personally, I think it's pretty useful, but it's very contextual. So you have to use it very defensively from what I've used it, and it can work, but like I said, it's very situational, very contextual. It's not always going to be to your advantage, and what I've seen and what I've used is mainly defensive, and that seems to work for me. So I wouldn't really use it aggressively. It can work aggressively. I have a couple clips where it does, but not really. If it works aggressively, it's mainly just because the other player is bad and not because you got a smart advantage on them or something. You can dive through windows, so that's kind of cool, I guess, but I don't think it's a major revolution like how tactical sprint was for Modern Warfare 2019. I think it's just another thing, another gimmick, another feature. But anyways, movement seems good overall. Slide needs a buff, I think, and yeah. So when it comes to the gunplay on this game, I have really mixed feelings on it. Honestly, half of the time it's like really good, on par with Modern Warfare 2019 gunplay, which if you don't know, that gunplay was amazing in many aspects. Yes, there was some overpowered weapons, but generally speaking, almost each weapon had each place in the sandbox, but it feels like that's less of the case here. Certain weapons like the MP5 are extremely dominant and not really fair once you go against them if you don't have an MP5. Sometimes the shotguns can feel a little weak too. I'd say about like a third of the guns are pretty underpowered or just not generally good. But overall, for the guns that the gunplay is good on, it's like perfect or near perfect. Pretty much every other gun is like somewhere in between, somewhere like bad or overpowered. So when it comes to the maps in the beta, I honestly think it's really mixed like the rest of the game. This map that you're seeing back in the background, the gameplay, is I think the best map in the game currently. There's 4 maps. There's a museum map, there's this map, there's a map where it's like a hotel, and then the last map is a farm. And I think the farm map's good, but the only issues that I have with it is in some areas it's pretty campy. But besides that, I feel like it's a good overall map and it's well designed. I feel like this map is the best because it doesn't encourage camping too much. While there are some spots where it does happen, it's not heavily encouraged. And the movement of overall the map and how it flows feels really good. And there's also room for snipers and such. But the two other maps that I feel are bad, the hotel and the museum, I think they're honestly tied for being the worst, because the museum wouldn't be such a bad map if it were condensed. It's just way too big. Half of the time you can't find anyone, and then the other half someone will pop around the corner and without you even knowing. It feels like COD World War II, where it's basically randomized about who you run into and when you run into. There's like no skill to the map play and how you go about the map. It's just randomized almost. And the hotel map is somewhat the same, but I found that in the hotel map there's like two general locations where all the action takes place. And if you've played the beta, you know what I'm talking about here. But the hotel room with the windows that are breakable and that looks down onto that like staircase that goes up a little bit, and then there's some cover up there, and that whole area, a lot of engagement happens there, and it gets really annoying anytime you try to go through that part of the map. And then there's also the area right next to it where there's like a desk that a lot of people hide behind that I've seen. If you're playing Capture the Flag, it's right next to point C. I found that area, those two areas have the most amount of action. There is action in other areas, but like I said, it feels random too when you come across action there. It doesn't feel like, it just feels weird. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't like those two maps personally. They're both too big. It would be good if it was like 12v12 maps, I think, for both of them, but for 6v6 it's just not big or not small enough. But generally, I feel like the map design is better than Modern Warfare 2019, as it doesn't encourage camping as much. So I think it's better in that sense. So in the beta, there's several game modes. You have your standard TDM, domination, but they have some other game modes that are more special. So, for instance, they have the third-person mosh pit, and I've seen a lot of people have negative takes on this, and personally, I think it's pretty good. I actually like it a lot. I don't know, it just feels like a breath of fresh air. I know it was in the original Modern Warfare 2, but it's cool that they brought it back. But something I don't like is how every time you aim your gun, it always goes to first person. I feel like that should happen only really with snipers, where it should be like third person shooting for pretty much every other gun. It just feels weird when you're like running around, jumping around like a madman, and then you aim in and your camera just completely changes. Yeah, I don't like it. But anyways, there's some other game was Knockout, I think was it called, something like that. It's kind of like similar to Siege from what I gather, where it's like you kind of go and get the hostage or whatever, but it's S&D in the sense of like if you die you're done, so no respawns. They have S&D too. Something interesting though, Invasion. Now I played a couple matches of Invasion, and let me tell you about Invasion. It sucks. It was horrible. It was like a worse Ground War, and Ground War already was like mediocre. But Invasion, I thought, was absolutely disgusting. Like, seriously. The one map that I played on a couple maps, but the few maps that I played on, one of them was just like a ton of tall buildings, and it was horrible. Like, it was just insanity. There was like no flow or anything. It just seemed random for everything. Lots of verticality, lots of ladders, but almost no engagements that are like that feel like COD engagements. It feels more just randomized. I don't know. I didn't like Invasion at all. It didn't feel fun. It didn't play fun. I didn't even know how you got points in the game. I was just running around killing people. I was so confused by the whole like point system or whatever. But anyways, Ground War has made a return from 2019, and this time around I honestly think it's worse. I feel like the map that I did play on, it was like a highway map. It was too convoluted in some areas, too much going on, and then in other areas there was just straight up nothing. And I feel like when you can't really snipe on that map much anyways, because it's like every time you try to snipe someone, there's like very little windows of areas that you actually get to snipe people, like little areas that are just covered in cover, and then other areas where it's just like you can't even see the guy. It's just, I don't know, there's way too much going on. I feel like the maps for Ground War were designed poorly. Same with Invasion. I feel like they could have had more potential if those were just better. But yeah, I don't know. So overall, I feel like this game has a lot of potential, but currently it's just hindered by so many factors. Like, to start off, I feel like thematically, not graphically, but thematically it is inferior to 2019 in every way. I feel like that was one of the best strong points of 2019, was its ability to get the player in such an immersive state. Like, even though that's not like a thing many people value, for me that's a big thing when it comes to games. If I can't feel immersed in the game, then I just don't want to play it. And I still can here, but it's just like, here it just feels like everything feels way more like uninspired, almost like Vanguard in a way. It feels somewhat soulless, and there does feel like more effort and care was put into this game compared to Vanguard. Well, Vanguard was just like, I don't know, just boring. It was, I always say this, I always say like there's no soul to it, there's no care to it, it's just random. But this game kind of gives me that same impression, but at the same time it doesn't. This game is an enigma to me, and I just don't know how to explain it. There's so much wrong with it, but so much right with it at the same time. Another example of this could be like the polish. I feel like a lot of things are extremely polished and well done, such as like the guns in a lot of ways, but also at the same time it just feels worse in 2019 in some other aspects, like the chopper gunner. If you get that kill streak, you can't even move it around. It's fixed in a position and it just sits there. Or like another example, when I played week 1 of the beta and I got the SAE, I literally tried activating it like 4 different times, and the game was just stuck there and glitched in, I don't know. It just feels like this beta has had more bugs than like the Cold War beta, or maybe even the Vanguard beta. I played a little bit of that, but I don't really remember too much besides that it was boring and it was that one dumb game mode. But I don't know, this beta has left me with a lot of questions and a lot of concerns, more so than I wanted to have. I really had a lot of hope in this game this time around that they would fix things and patch it together, but I don't know. Like, some more aspects again could be like just like stuff that is happening that shouldn't be happening, like right now in the background. Like, another example is just the UI in this game. It sucks. It is absolutely horrible, and it's probably one of the worst UI I've ever seen. Like, it's really bad. Really, really bad. To invite your friends to a party, it's like the most confusing crap ever. You have to like press R3 and then go through like 5 different steps. It's way too complicated.
Fuck this shit!
I just invite my friends to PlayStation rather than actually like doing it through the party, because it's just such a pain. Not to mention like editing your settings and loadouts and everything. Like, when you make a loadout, it's the weirdest crap. You hit create loadout, right? And it doesn't, instead of bringing you straight to the loadout screen, it gives you 3 templates, which is like, why would I want templates when I'm creating a loadout? So whatever, you choose the templates anyways, and then from there you can edit it. Like, why not just let me edit my loadout from the beginning? It's really stupid and confusing. And just another example of this is like the Gunsmith 2.0. Like, why did they have to change the Gunsmith? It makes no sense. Or like the perk system. The perk system sucks now, because you start out with 2 perks, right? That you have the entire match, and then throughout the match you get 2 other perks. Like, why? What if I want to have freaking Ghost right now, but I can't because the game is just built that way?
That was clean too, bro. That is a...
Going back to the Gunsmith, it's really, I wouldn't say it's confusing once you understand it, but it's just strange. It feels like they changed it for no reason. Like, it was already good, and they decided to change it. They now have, like, from what I understand, the way they have it now is they have like, I'm no gun expert, so I'm probably gonna mess this up, but they have like certain bases for the guns, and the only way you can get bases for the gun, like the MP5, is by upgrading other guns of the same family that are in different categories. So you have to unlock like you have to level up that or lock them that is in the battle rifle category or assault rifle category. But to summarize, I do think this game has potential and it does have a good base. There are just those issues that I mainly highlighted here that have been laid out, such as like it being under polished, the issues when it comes to balancing, certain things like that. But I feel like it can be a solid game if they put the work in. I'm somewhat hopeful for this next COD.